What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Will and Rock podcast. I'm Will.
I'm Rock.
Today we're going to discuss UFC 215, and we're also going to start off with some news.
Yeah.
The first headline today was Michael Johnson is going down in weight from lightweight to featherweight. He feels more comfortable in that weight, and he automatically calls out Jose Aldo.
Yeah, which is a smart fight. I don't necessarily know if he's a big name for Jose Aldo. I don't know how that fight would sell.
Well, not only that, but you have to think about it. Jose Aldo's coming out of 2 losses. It completely makes sense to call him out. I mean, that's the perfect time.
Yeah, but he's also coming off a loss, which is interesting. But either way, I do think it's the right call for him at the end of the day. And if they do give him that fight, that's freaking ideal for someone like him that would really make a name for himself. Right. Because there's really nobody else in that weight class.
No, there really isn't anybody in that weight class.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get somebody else in there.
Yeah, you get Max in there, and if he decides to stay with the belt, because Naz McGregor is going to come down with that weight class, which he's totally.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, but you got a couple of people starting up in the lightweight division, so I think. Who holds the belt now?
Max Holloway.
Max Holloway. He's going to get some competition coming up, so it's only a matter of time for that weight class, to step up their game. But anyways, that's one. And then the next headline was Paige Van Sant. She's moving to flyweight division because she's been passing out the last couple of fights trying to cut weight too much. So I think it's important for her health,
Yeah, and she's a great fighter. If you could think about it, if you could think about her at the right weight class and what she's able to accomplish in the right weight class, doesn't have to cut. She's so freaking fast and such a smart. Her IQ for the sports was really, moving her up, because she's really not the best fighter out of all of them. She's been proven she has a lot of freaking weaknesses, but her IQ is so high. She's always able to land that strike. She
comes from the Uriah Faber
training camp.
Right, the Alpha Male training camp. And it's just, I mean, you when you constantly train with these professionals, the IQ is the first thing that's going to start to develop, because besides obviously your game and all that stuff, but it's good for her, She can now doesn't have to pass out. It's nothing that she has to worry about anymore.
That's insane, the fact that she was passing out.
To think how many fighters had passed out, which is crazy.
And it hasn't been brought to the light as much.
Well, not that it hasn't. It's just It's
part of the game, I guess, right?
It's not illegal to do. They should say you walk around 145, then you have to fight at 145. That's the safest way. And also, you could train. You don't have to deplete so much weight. You don't have to gain so much weight. It messes up with your brain. Bad enough they're in the sport where they're losing their brain cells every day. You know? Fucking crazy. But so that's that. Let's get straight to it. UFC 215 this Saturday, September 9th. Michael Johnson versus Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg. It's the headline, but let's start from the bottom to open up the card. Tremendous fight, man. Gilbert Melendez versus Jeremy Stephens.
That's such a great matchup between those two. They stand-up fighters. They're not taken to the ground, and they're both. All they're there to do is throw punches. That's going to be such a freaking great match.
Yeah, like super exciting matchup between both of these fighters. They're both coming off three losses for Gilbert Melendez. And Jeremy Stephens also has lost his last 2 fights.
Yeah, that's going to be for Gilbert. This is really do or die for me. I mean, he says that he's going to continue fighting until his body says that he can't do no more. But after he's looked in his last 2 fights, his look just looked old. Unfortunately,
he lost his last 3 fights. But I mean, he got beat by Edson Barboza. That's the latest one that he just lost to. Then he lost to Eddie Alvarez. And he also lost to Anthony Pettis. I mean, we're talking about 2 out of the 3 were actually world champions at one point. So it's nothing to hang your hat on. Gilbert Melendez is, a former champion as well, from Strikeforce. But he hit the age where you start to see the lack of performance in the octagon.
Yeah, it's not even the lack of performance. It's the lack of speed, Like, he goes out there, he has a great game plan, he performs well, but he's just slow to do that, you know? Everything from punches to kick, he just looks slow.
He's powerful. He can still knock you out.
Oh, no, hands down.
His speed has gone down. Yeah, a lot of has to do with his age. I mean, the guy is getting up there, and he's had multiple fights. I mean,
he comes back from fighting. I think he fought like the last year of Pride.
Yeah.
He's absolutely legit. And they train the same camp as Nick Diaz, Jake Shields. So those guys are animals, man. They're freaking animals.
Rat Pack. So that's the perfect fight to start off that card. Then we have Latifi versus Tyson Pedro. Another really good
Jesus,
fight.
I just started to like do my homework with Pedro, and Pedro's record is fucking bananas, man.
Yeah, he's what is he, like 6-0? 6-0.
He's in 6-0. All his fights, he has 3 KOs and 4 submissions. This is somebody I really haven't paid much attention to.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to this guy.
Well, I mean, they put him closer to the main event, and they put Gabriel Melendez. I mean, just the thought of that means it's a straight up fight.
But also,
somebody's getting knocked out.
No, but also what the UFC is doing, they're making sure they take the first fight of the card and making it pretty explosive for people to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they've been doing in the last couple of fights. Even though some of them could be the third or maybe even co-main events, but if you drop them down to the first fight, it makes you tune in. You know?
No, I do agree. But hopefully, he's getting the opportunity. Latifi, also another opportunity to step up and see what he could do. That light heavyweight division is now on a scramble with John Jones, Mick. So it's time to go after the belt. And who knows? Latifi is going to be a little harder for him. He's an older guy. He's I don't see how much longer he's going to be fighting. But the young lucky lion that's coming in.
Yeah. He's from Australia as well, so he has that name. His name is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So something to look forward to as well. The next one is Rafael Dos Anjos versus Neil Magny. This
is a freaking fight and a half, man.
Yeah. This is a very interesting fight. We're talking about Neil Magny, who loves the distance, but could he submit you? You better be very careful.
And he is a great striker. He's a great striker. That's the great thing about Magny, man. Magny's he almost reminds me of John Jones in the sense that he's so tall and lanky.
Yeah.
And he uses his freaking distance so well for a big guy. That's key in this sport. When you're fighting this sport and you're that big, you have to know how to use that as an advantage to your opponent, you know?
They're both coming out of both wins. One, Johnny Hendricks, Neil Magny, Johnny Hendricks.
It's huge.
And Rafael Dos Anjos just finished beating Safadine in decision. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So that's it's a good fight. Let's see, Dos Anjos on his way back up. Who knows? He's now up in welterweight. If I'm not mistaken, this is his first fight in welterweight. If I'm not mistaken. So that's another freaking tremendous fight between those two.
Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't talk about Rafael Dos Anjos, but this is also a guy who tremendous stand-up game. He's developed this stand-up game is amazing, and he also is ready to wrestle you down. He'll grind you, how he did to Anthony Pettis, as you remember. It's just that grind in him. He doesn't stop, And he doesn't have to worry about going to a 5-round fight now because he's no longer the champion.
Yeah.
So 3 he could be a little more explosive.
Well, yeah, he's going to be interesting because he's another guy that I'm like questioning this guy.
Yeah.
Does he still have it to become a champion? I honestly don't see it, but this fight is ideal. Yeah. It's ideal for both fighters. Puts them in a great place.
Absolutely. And the next one of the most anticipated fights in UFC this year is Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko.
Yeah, last fight, Nunes had some issues losing some weight. That became such a huge health issue that they had to cancel that fight. But Shevchenko is old business, man. She's old business, and this last things that happened to Nunes, you start questioning. You're the champion. You gotta make it. And even if you don't, unfortunately, we're in a sport where there's no excuses, man.
No, I agree 100%. Shevchenko took Holly Holm to decision, tremendous win, and then she just finished submitting Juliana Pena. Those two are the top of the notch of the weight classes. For her to perform the way she did, she's ready to go, man.
Yeah.
Just to show you, she's tremendous stand-up game, and she just submitted somebody. You could see the development in her. So it's going to be very interesting what Amanda Nunes is going to come in.
Yeah, Nunes, I mean, listen, if she comes in 100%, all she got to make sure she does, if she keeps that range, is just throw those punches, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, those things are fucking hammers, you know? 2 of those, and Shevchenko.
She's the one that took Ronda Rousey's title, and she's been running with it. So it's an interesting fight. I believe Shevchenko might take this one, believe it or not.
It was Holly Holmes that took the Ronda Rousey's belt, and Ronda was on the come up to fight Nunes to see the first contender, and Nunes ended up knocking out Ronda Rousey. It's I won't say one of the biggest upsets, because I think after the way she lost to Holly Holmes, everybody questioned what type of fighter she really was, but we knew what Nunes could bring to the table, and and the fact that she won. And you didn't even look like it was like Ronda deserved to be in the octagon for that fight. So that's going to be I can't wait for that fight. This is not their first time either. Yeah. This is the second time they fight. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Then last but not least, we have Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg.
So this fight is very interesting. You got someone like Demetrius Johnson who makes everyone look like they shouldn't be in that weight class with him. And then there's so much speculations about this guy Borg being the truth. I don't know much about the guy.
Yeah, neither do I. And it's what disappoints me, because when people say, oh, he might be the next guy, I mean, what type of who he's for?
Yeah, why haven't we heard of him? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know how good this fight's going to be, but it's gotten to the point where Demetrius needs to figure out what the hell he needs to do.
I agree with you 100%. He needs to get the hell out of the weight class. It's disappointing because Dillashaw was ready to go, and they were planning on doing that super fight, and Demetrius Johnson didn't want to fight him. He said, no, I'm not going to fight him. If he wins, as we know, Demetrius Johnson will go with his 13 title defense, which makes him, he'll break a UFC record. Yeah. So, of course he doesn't want to fight TJ Dillashaw. I mean, that's really dumb in a sense. Now that he breaks that record, it's time, because he's going to be Ray Borg. I mean, I've never seen Ray Borg fight, but there's no competition like Demetrius Johnson, the greatest fighter in the UFC. With that being said, Demetrius Johnson it'll make a lot more sense for Demetrius Johnson when he wins this fight to then take these big fights. I mean, he has Cody Garbrandt. Whether he lost with Cody Garbrandt, it's a tremendous fight for him. You have Dominic Cruz waiting. You have TJ Dillashaw. That's super fights. I don't care who wins, who loses between all 3 of them. That's a super fight, and that's what he should take.
No, hands down. If it's no longer after like you said, if he wins this fight, there is nothing else in that weight class.
Absolutely not.
I mean, if I were him, I would just vacate the belt and move up weight and see if you could, take on the big dogs and try to take that belt. Because that would mix shit up big time, dude. Yeah. That would be so serious, man.
That would bring his fame up without a doubt, because that guy cannot sell arenas, not yet, and he's gonna go for the UFC record. We're alive talking about this, and nobody really cares, to be honest. And you can't really blame them. There's no hype to these fights. Who the hell is Ray Borg?
Yeah.
Like, he's not fighting anybody good, I shouldn't say good, no disrespect. It's more like not to his competition.
Yeah.
So
it's just one of those.
He gets his name up. He's the type of guy, bro, that if he starts to go on a crazy winning streak versus superstars, he could reach the pinnacle of fucking UFC. He could definitely bring over fucking McGregor. But he needs to get something, and he needs to start running his mouth a little bit more,
No, yeah. Listen, if this is the route that he wants to choose and not open his mouth, then he needs after this win, he needs to go up weight class and clean house.
Without a doubt.
If you start cleaning, well, obviously, I mean, we're acting like he's gonna walk past Dominic Cruz, Dillashaw, and Cody. That's gonna be a challenge for him. But I'm saying that if he does, that's when he really starts to make a name for himself,
No, so we both agree on that.
Even though we both consider he's the best fighter in the UFC.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
When was it? 2 weeks ago, we were saying it was John Jones, then the motherfucker pops for steroids.
And then it shows you the professionalism of someone like Demetrius Johnson, you know?
He's out of the map. We were planning on doing something, and we didn't start from the beginning. We're going to call out, and this is going to happen in the next podcast. It's going to get very interesting because the honest truth is that we're trying to give more energy to this podcast. And the best thing that I think that you and I could do is that starting next podcast, we're going to, since this card is obviously going to take place, UFC 215, we're going to make decisions of who's going to win or lose. If you and I pick the same fighter to win, and he wins, then we both don't take shots. But if he loses, we both got to take shots. I just wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just wanted to say that. So we're gonna do per fight. So for example, the first fight is Gilbert Melendez versus Jeremy Stevens. Whoever he picks, if he loses the next week, then he has to take a shot. We will figure it out what fucking liquor we're gonna use. But you want to get started?
Yeah. All right. So I got Jeremy Stevens.
Just to mix this up, I got Gilbert Melendez.
Really?
All right. Gilbert Melendez. We have to remember this. We're gonna write this stuff down.
Yeah.
Next is Latifi versus Tyson Pedro.
Tyson Pedro.
I'm going for Latifi.
Oh damn!
Somebody's taking a shot for sure next week.
Yeah, but I would tell you, man. Well, anyways, again, Pedro's undefeated, man.
Yeah.
6-0.
Rafael Dos Anjos versus Neil Magny.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'm gonna beat you to the punch. Rafael Dos Anjos.
I'm going for Magny then.
Fuck yeah. Alright, so that's somebody's taking 3 shots. Oh, it's gonna get disgusting. We have Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko.
Amanda Nunes.
I'm gonna go for Shevchenko.
Oh shit.
And Demetrius Johnson versus Ray Borg.
Mix
it up.
Nah, fuck that, dude. I ain't an idiot.
Alright, cool. We both got Demetrius Johnson. If he loses, then we have to take a shot both. So
yeah.
Good luck, Ray Borg. Alright, cool. So let's wrap it up. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, this is gonna mix things up a little bit, make things a little more interesting. Alright, guys. Well, thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to sign into our YouTube channel. I'm sorry, I should say subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Rock and Will Podcast on YouTube and also on Instagram. Follow us there as well. And we're out.
Peace.